Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing. Hi, guys. Welcome to episode 455 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. Welcome. I'm happy you're here. If you haven't heard it yet today, you're doing great. Keep moving forward and don't look back. Okay, so this last December, we have this local garden store. It's called the Garden District, and I could spend 4 hours in there, even though it's tiny. It's not that big. But they had these gorgeous succulents. I don't know if you know what those are, but they're plants that have the thick sap-filled leaves. They're so beautiful. Now, they had a lot of different types, but they had some were 7 and 8 inches wide, which is really big for a succulent, here anyway. And it was the most beautiful green color. And so I had to have one, and I felt like my friends needed one too. So I bought 3 of them, and I found the perfect wood pot and filled each one with rocks, because that's how you put a succulent. That's how they survive, is just sitting on top of rocks. So I set them on there, and it made me so happy to have found them, and then also to be able to give a gift that kept on giving to my friends that I love. And I have been loving mine ever since and taking care of it exactly how they told me to take care of it. They cannot have a lot of water. Their natural environment where they thrive is a desert. So they don't get much water, and they love the sun. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I noticed that it looked like it needed a little bit of extra love, and it was a beautiful hot day outside. So I put it outside just for the day where it could be in its perfect environment, and I could tell it was happy. I don't know if you can ever notice that a plant is happy, but it seemed like it was out there. But Eric and I that day had a lot going on because we were trying to get ready to go out of town. So by the time we got back home, it was dark outside, and I didn't see that I had left the succulent out there still. And that night it rained harder than we've seen it rain for a very long time. And I hadn't brought that succulent in. So it got soaked all night. And if you know anything about succulents, you know that's really bad. So the next morning when I saw it, I panicked, and I ran out immediately, and I pulled it in, and I drained the water, and I carefully turned it upside down, and I kept trying to dry it out, but to no avail. Nothing I was going to do or knew to do was going to save it. So I placed it in the sun inside in hopes that somehow it would survive, that maybe I had gotten it dried out enough, but it did not. It died really quickly, and I felt really bad. Well, out of love and good intentions, I really did damage to the plant. I destroyed it, really. In my attempts to show it love, I destroyed it. And not only it, but the orchid next to it by association. Call me crazy. But I thought that we were going out of town. So I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll put one of these thriving orchids next to the succulent, and maybe somehow it will help bring it back. And this was while we were going out of town. But the opposite happened. My thriving, healthy orchid actually started looking pretty bad by the time we got back. And all my other ones that were far away from the succulent looked great. So I was just distraught, because I felt like I had damaged this. I had done all of this with good intentions, of course. And the reason I'm telling you that is I feel like it applies so much to our society today. Sometimes, because of good intentions, we destroy things. And sometimes by association, it's perpetuated so that we lower our standards too, or at the very least, we're weakened. I say this because it seems like the habit and the patterns lately have been to glorify things that are not healthy at all out of good intentions. And I get it. But what we're ultimately doing is telling everyone else that these are the norms to our new way of living. They tell us these are the new thriving norms when they really are the opposite. And we all know it. But we just turn a blind eye to it because it's easier than standing up and saying, oh, wait a minute. A society with no standards destroys itself fairly quickly. And we're doing that because we're so afraid to tell the truth. I mean, we want everyone to feel embraced and loved. Of course we do. But in an effort to do that, we're destroying the fabric of our society. I'll give you a really good example. The new National American Miss Alabama. She is morbidly obese. Not just a little, she is morbidly obese. And out of good intentions in a roundabout way, Because we're glorifying her, we're telling other young girls that that's the goal. Obesity is our new norm and we should embrace it. That's what society's telling us when they do that. When we all know at our core that that's not the path we want our daughters to take, obesity is a path to disease, no way around it. Those good intentions will destroy the lives of no telling how many girls because they see that and they think, oh, I don't have to give up my sugar. I don't have to give up my sugar addiction now because it's normal to be overweight. It's normal to be addicted to sugar. And it gives them the idea that they don't have to change. It takes the leverage to change away because they think that it's just the norm. So why go through the pain of doing anything different? It really messes with our heads, all of our heads. Our intuition looks at it and we innately know something's off with it. But then it encourages other girls to be like her at the same time. We can love that young lady that was crowned Miss Alabama without parading her as a role model for the other young girls. On the same topic, I saw an article this last week that I thought was kind of preposterous. That's what kind of got me thinking about doing this episode, was where they said that a study had been done and processed foods actually do not, in fact, cause obesity. No. How many people believe that? Probably not you and me, but my guess is there were a lot of people who read it and said, see, I can eat all the processed food I want. And it just sucked all the wind out of any chance they had of stopping eating processed foods, which are really bad for them. There's so many of these things that I could say. I mean, in just the past few weeks, an NFL kicker gave a commencement speech to a Catholic school graduation, and he praised his wife for her vocation of being a homemaker and a mom. And he pleaded with the men in the group to embrace their masculinity. He was eviscerated for these comments, among others. I don't know about you, but I think being a mom looks like one of the hardest jobs out there. And there's nothing better than a masculine man taking care of his family from a feminine woman's point of view. He wasn't saying women can't be lawyers. He just said if you want to be a mom and a homemaker, it's really satisfying, beneficial job. But I guess society doesn't want women to hear that. And how many people do you know think it's normal to be on prescription medications by the time you're 50? With 75% reporting that they are, in fact, on medication at 50 and above, that's a societal norm now. There are tons of functional nutritionists, though, who have proven diet and exercise can overcome most of the diseases we have in society. But that's a radical idea. My point is, there's so much advice that society gives us that turns out not to be helpful. In fact, it turns out to be harmful. They mean well. They have good intentions. I know they do, but it's harming us. And it's time we free ourselves and decide based on our own intuition what's good for us individually and what's not. What's good for our family and what's not. It really is a matter of common sense and also being honest with ourselves and our family. That's the best we could do at this point. Honestly, obesity isn't healthy. We all know that. Girls can't be boys and boys can't be girls. Single parent families are not as nurturing and healthy as having a mom and a dad. There are 100 other things I could list, but you get the point. The side effect of glorifying these things is we get more of it. More obesity leads to more disease and depression. More gender confusion leads to more depression. More single moms leads to more poverty and crime. This is no way to build a strong, healthy, wildly successful life. The message we need to be sending is, we love you, but this is not healthy or normal. We can love without glorifying. That's a societal norm I can get behind. We want to love everyone, and we want everyone to love themselves too. But we can't do that without honesty and truth. Good intentions may have gotten us here, but honesty can get us out. My challenge to you today is to follow your intuition, not societal norms. They've gotten us off track for long enough. Those good intentions have done enough damage to our society. It's time we start being honest. Share this with 3 people who are rising above societal norms. I love you guys. I'll talk to you in a few days. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.